Hi, everybody. Welcome to Unit 1. This is week 2 of the class, and I'm going to run you through the assignment. I hope you enjoy this one. The things that you all have been posting when your introductions and on Perusall and on the Padlet. I hope you check out the things that I've been, my comments, interesting bunch of people. So we're now going to move into the sort of the content part of the class, but I think you'll enjoy it because it's going to sort of follow along what we've been reading already. Let me show my things enough. Hassan's video talked about language and the power of names and language and culture. Jamila Lysacott's thing was all about how we change what we say and how we say it depending on the context, who we're with, where we are, that kind of thing. And so we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into that whole idea with Unit 1. This is all about the groups that we are a part of. I mean, we're all part of a lot of different kinds of groups. For example, me, I have this is my lesson plan, so I have to read it. Or check with it anyway. For me, some of the groups that I'm involved in are like the Writers Guild of America, because I worked in TV for a long time. That's a professional group. I'm also among the professionals who teach writing, first year writing, composition, and rhetoric. And we have several organizations. So again, that's a professional group. I also crochet, so I'm a part of that particular community. I'm a pet parent. There we go, dogs and cats. So, I'm part of that community as well. I also am a member of a couple of writing groups, Mystery Writers of America, London Writers Salon. And again, this is sort of a semi-professional group. It's sort of to help us, get where we want to go with our writing. So we all are members of these things. If you think about your own career, your own profession, I know there are a lot of dental hygienists. That's a group that you're a part of. There are also cultural groups, like I can't say this word, but it's the Nuyorican, the Puerto Rican community in New York. We just had West Indies Day and the parade and all that, where the culture gets together and, wears costumes that are appropriate, the clothing, the celebrate thing, lots of good food. And, that's another kind of group that you're part of. Now, these are all called discourse communities. Discourse comes from the same word as discuss, and dialogue, and all those words come from the same root word. So a discourse community, they have several things in common, all of them, or several things make up a discourse community. One is they generally have a goal. It's not just a bunch of friends hanging out on a corner. Professional organizations, those discourse communities are all about furthering your career and in your profession, giving you experience and contacts and that kind of thing. So they have a goal. Also, just the community things. I have students who often write about being gym rats, excuse me, but the goal of going to the gym is that they help each other become better at whatever they're working on. It's all about health and wellness. The crochet group, my crochet group is all about making me be better crocheter, which is kind of a hopeless task, but they try. So there's always a reason for these things. If it's a West Indies Day, it's about, that's my cat's tail. It's about celebrating the culture and teaching people about it. So there's a reason, there's a goal for all these discourse communities. The second thing that they have in common is they tend to have a certain language that is all their own. Like when I start talking half double stitches or slip stitches, nobody's going to understand me except the other people in the crochet group. If you're an engineer and you're in a professional organization for engineers, you talk like an engineer, and there are things that people outside their profession don't get. So my cat's going to start yelling at me, but I'm not going to ignore it, and so you should too. So there's a certain language, there's a way of talking, like Jamila Lysacotte talks about. You talk like a professor when you're in professor mode. And there are words, that people share that they don't share with other groups. So one is they have a goal. Two, they share a language. And three, there are sort of ways of entering that group. And they vary from group to group. You have to know how to crochet at least a little bit, unless you say, hey, I'm a complete newbie, help me, right? And there are people who will. Video games. People will start playing these RPGs or the online, massive online players, games, MMORPGs. And they come in as a newbie. Now, sometimes newbie is people get picked on. And so it takes a while to go from newbie to experienced person within that group. And the group itself sort of maintains who gets in and who doesn't. So it's both inclusive, it welcomes people in, and it's also kind of exclusive. Like if you don't do our language, if you don't have the same goals, you don't really belong in our discourse community. So it's got some upsides and some downsides. So what we're going to be doing is what you're going to be doing is you're going to be picking one of your discourse communities and then telling us about it and showing it to us in action. Like you can write about, okay, might say, I started crocheting as a way to sort of make some fun things for my granddaughter, and I got hooked on it. And this is kind of what when I go to the yarn shop, this is what the group sounds like. And sort of take us into the space, hear people talking, talk about what the space looks like, talk about how hard it is to do what I'm doing, that kind of thing. So this is kind of it's almost like a personal essay about one of your discourse communities. And that's basically what we're going to do. So let me show you, it's not hard. You don't have to do any research. This is not a research paper, by the way, except for you doing research. You can talk to other people in your community and say, well, what do you think I should write about? What are some things that I should say? That's always a good kind of research to do for this one, because they might give you some ideas. So let me share the screen and I'll show you what we're going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. Share screen. Here we go. This is 0594 again. The other section, OL12, looks exactly the same. And so this general introduction is the same for both sections. So that's why there's only one. But this is the only one I picked because it was up first. So here we are. Here is unit 1, right down here. And I should do this as learner. I always forget. Do this again. So we're going to do course content. Go down to unit 1. Okay, so here's everything in unit 1. It's a pretty straightforward thing. Now, I'm not going to read this out loud because I've basically just told you what's in it, but do take the time to look at it. This is sort of what we are. This is something that I just made up. It makes a difference whether I say, what y'all want to eat tonight, or where would you care to dine this evening? That's 2 different groups, same language, 2 different groups, Jamila lexicon. So we're going to be reading a few things. We're going to be reading about what a discourse community is. We're going to read a couple of things. The first part of a book called The Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz, where he talks about one word from his community that, as I write here, has so much power that it sort of rules the whole country. This is not an easy piece, but he wants people to know the word. And so we're gonna read it and we're gonna comment on it. It's in Perusall, and then we'll make some more comments on it on a Padlet. Then we're also gonna read some things by Queen Latifah and Perry Kloss, again, about discourse communities and language, right? So those are the 3 readings, actually 4 readings, because I don't have the one about discourse community up here. And then you'll do some things. Then you're going to write about the language of the community that you're part of, or tell us about your community and the language that you use in it. So is it meant to include people? Does it create a special kind of community? Does it exclude people? Like I said, this is not an academic research report. Again, you can go out and talk to people in your discourse community and get some ideas or some more thoughts about the language. Right. So give us a story or 2, show the language in action. Give us a funny story or a sad story. I had it was a guy who did one of these on being in the gym, and he told this, he wrote about this really hilarious story where somebody got stuck under the, it's classic, got stuck under the barbells and how everybody helped him out. So, and they yelling things at each other. It was very fun. So you can do that. You can do a little bit sadder. You can be very thoughtful, very introspective about a day that your group did something specific. Show it to us in action, okay? And explain a little bit about what it means for you to be part of it. I think one of the things, again, the same guy with the gym, he said that he never felt really at home any place in the world until he decided to join the gym, and people were very welcoming and helpful. And now he goes to the gym all the time because it feels like home to him. So these discourse communities, we choose them for specific reasons. They can feel like home. They can feel like a place where we can talk about issues in our profession and in our life. So talk about what it means to you, and then think about how exclusive or exclusionary or inclusive that community is, and write a little bit about that. Okay. Now you can explain some words. You can use the words in your discourse community. You can explain it to us. You can write in standard written English, what I call standard white guy English, or you can actually, use the language of your discourse community in any way you want to. Okay, so this kind of open form about the language. Use I, because it's all about I, you. Okay, so I is what you should use. Right, so the bottom line is, I'm going to say this 9,000 more times, it's not a research paper. It needs to make a point. Okay, so these are some of the things that the readings are making a point about. The discourse community. You talk about like the guy with why it was home for the gym. That was his point, is that you can have a home in more than one way. All right, so think about the point that you're making about your discourse community. This is what you'll be grading on. I've had students turn in this paper sort of half in language I didn't understand and half, and that's fine. It doesn't matter, as long as it's obvious to me why it's being done that way. I don't care that much. Now you don't have to quote from any of the readings in this, but read them as a reader and as a writer, and I can check perusal to tell who's done it again. And so there's all of that. The other thing that we'll be doing is there's an activity in the class Google Drive that I'll show you in a minute, just to help you practice with writing really specific language with detail. And it's very fun. It's a visualization exercise, and it's a great activity. I make my screenwriting students do it every term, and they really like it. I do it myself when I'm writing something too. So at least 1,000 words, due the end of the day, September the 18th. Since it's not very long and it doesn't take a lot of, research, or any research except for talking to people, it's pretty straightforward exercise. And we'll be putting these up, putting your first drafts, your shitty first drafts, I quoted from Annie Lamont there, into the Google Drive, and then we'll help each other. We'll workshop it and see where you are. I'll give you some feedback on what's going on, and we'll talk about how to give really good, meaningful, positive feedback to your work, and not just, well, you put a comma there, because I don't believe in that stuff. If you know that you're sure that commas go there, you can say that, but otherwise, that's my job. Okay, so here are some questions that you can think about before you start writing. You can read through these. It's brainstorming, think about the language in the community, think about events, things that have happened. And then here's the little next steps. So next steps for week 2, which is what we're in, look at the weekly schedule. I'll go back and look at that in just a second. And then do the assignments on the schedule. There are readings in perusal, and there's a Padlet response to Fuku. And then after that, I just want to give you a heads up on what's coming. In week 3, you're going to pick your discourse community, so you can think about it this week while you're reading stuff. And then we're going to do that activity, which is in the drive. And if you want to go to the week 3 thing and click over there and look at it, it's fine, but you don't need to. You practice writing details, and then you'll upload a rough draft into the Google Drive folder. And then week 4, and that's the last week of this unit, you read about leaving meaningful, positive feedback. We'll workshop a couple of your classmates' drafts that are in the drive, and then you'll revise that draft if you want to. Submit the revised draft to Brightspace by the end of the day on September 18th. I think that's right. So And remember too, that whatever grade you get in this revised draft, you can revise it again and the grade will change, possibly. All right. I've never had one go down. I've had them go up. So that's the assignment sheet. So now I need to go back to here. Just to show you where the rest of the stuff is here. Here's the week 2 schedule. Here's the Padlet. Here's the Google Drive. It's pretty straightforward. Just says activity page. And then we'll be doing this next week. Wake up. You follow some instructions and then you write a paragraph. But don't worry about that yet because that's not till next week. So let me go back here. And then you put your rough drafts in the same spot. So unit 1. All right, so this is what's happening. So week 2 schedule, to get really specific. There's 3 things to look at in Perusall. I'll go over there in just a second. Understanding discourse communities. This is about the writer wanted to learn how to play the guitar. So it's sort of his story about how he joined that discourse community, which is kind of fun. And then there's two pieces, Queen Latifah and Perry Kloss. And there should be a prompt at the very end. If it's not there, I'll go back and check. It's supposed to be there. And then, if you identify with either of them or not, and let's do, Sunday night. Again, this is not a hard deadline, but it'll let you know the pace you should sort of be on to get everything done. And then do next Wednesday, read and annotate Fuku, which is another thing in Perusall, and then respond to the prompt on this Padlet. So, having done that, let's go over to Perusall. Okay. Hello, wake up. So here are the things. Here's Queen Latifah and Perry Kloss. This should be up here first. This one first. Okay, understanding discourse communities. It's an article. Okay, so just comment on it like you did with the syllabus and the things you did for week 1. So there's 2 on there, so be sure to see 2 on here. So be sure to go to the next part after you read Queen Latifah's piece. Ignore all this yellow stuff. I don't even know why it's there. Right, so that's that, unless people have already read it, which is entirely possible. Yes, obviously people have read it. And then the discourse communities one. Let's see, should be there. Okay. And then for after Sunday, for next week, you'll read this one, Fuku, which is a little bit tougher. And then you can go to the Padlet, go back over here and click on the Padlet, okay? And go to the prompt. And the Fuku thing is tough. So I want you to write about how hard it was to do. But again, we'll talk about that next week. It's not necessary for this week. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, it is for this week. Write the Fuku for this week. Right? So you respond to the prompt. And you mostly just talk about, why you found the article hard, what you think that Juno Diaz was trying to do with it, what Fuku means. This particular reading, people really sort of enjoy this one a lot. And there's a lot of conversation goes on in Perusall about, you'll see, things that kind of resonate with you, which is sort of what Perusall is all about. Okay, so that's all of that. There's the week 2 schedule. So I hope all this is clear. The video, when I do the video will be here first, and you'll find that first. Assignment sheet, the 3 weeks schedule, the Padlet to talk about Fuku. And there should be another Padlet up here, which is not on here, but I will put it on there because it seems to be missing for some reason, where you you give us an example or tell us what discourse community you're going to be in. So that will be added right in here. Okay. I think that's it. That's all. Course home. I'll go fix that Padlet right now and stop sharing. And as usual, I'm so grateful everybody's on Slack, and I've been talking to a bunch of people on there DMing. So welcome to the class. And if you have any problems or issues with any part of this unit or getting to the links, let me know. Send me a message and DM me in Slack, and we'll all be good. and have fun with this. I'll put another video up next week. So this is the basic one, and then I'll get another one for week 2 and also week 3 and week 4 as well. Okay, so have fun, enjoy these things. I think you'll enjoy this assignment. And I will talk to you all later. Bye. Stop recording.